You got your own vlog going on?
Yep.
Vlog going on here. Like, subscribe, and comment. That's right.
This is Rob Van Dam, and you're watching Cold TV. Bam.
Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pro Wrestling 60, where we cover everything that happened this past week in the world of professional wrestling. I'm XLJ the Og, joined by my partner in crime, my brother from another mother. This week, he is hailing from... I lose track. Where are you at now?
Oh, I wish I was an Oscar Mayer wiener.
Huh?
That is what I really want to be. And if I were an Oscar Mayer wiener, everyone would be in love with me.
I don't know what that means, but it's Mr. B-roll.
I saw the Oscar Mayer wiener van today. I mean,
now you're obsessed.
mobile.
You're obsessed with food trucks. Now you're obsessed with wiener mobiles. There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. It's 2024. That's fully acceptable, bro. I love you nonetheless. So, how are you doing, buddy?
I am doing pretty good. It was another great week of professional wrestling.
You're telling me.
Feel like maybe this is more of like a true crime episode.
Oh my god! Yeah.
So,
yeah, you're not wrong there. Well, let's get right into it, my friend.
Yeah. Without that, let's get right into it. And we do not condone the actions of these people, but
pure discretion is advised.
Yes. The clock starts now.
All right, and of course, our top story of the week is AEW All Out 2024 took place in the world-famous Now Arena in Chicago, our home away from home. This was the first All Out I've missed in 3 years. First one for you in 2 years, but
yeah,
man, it was a hell of a show. Wish we could have been there, but gosh dang, man, you're right. But at least we weren't there for the scene of the crime because there was a lot of crimes committed on this show. Holy guacamole. And we, as our good close friend, the light-skinned guy Jim put, the best way to sum this show up is AEW did the bad blood pay-per-view before WWE could, because that's exactly what this was. There was a ton of bad blood going into this show, and of course, we got to start it off with that main event. We talked about this in our prediction show. We talked about it here on PW60. This easily one of the most anticipated grudge matches in wrestling that we have seen in a long, long time. The lights out steel cage match between Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. Well, lights out because unsanctioned, yes.
Yes.
Did it live up to the hype in your mind? That's a silly question.
Yes. So as you know, I have kind of a silly story about this match, and so I feel like it is an important detail for me to include this story. Won't lie, I had a very busy weekend. I was out of town. Friday to Saturday. Got back Saturday, just in time to watch All Out. And I won't lie, I was a little bit tired, and yeah, I was dozing a little bit, and the chair shot at the end of the match was so loud it woke me up, and I was like, "What happened?" But I was so tired, I was just like, "You know what? I know who won now. I'm gonna go back and watch the finish in the morning, and like last night, I missed the whole like needle thing, and I was like, I watched it and I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, this was this was pretty personal.
Pretty personal, pretty violent affair. It was funny in our group chat. Our good buddy Hambone was posting like a bingo card of like the different things that would happen in this matchup, and I swear to God, I think he got a bingo or something off of it because it was like so many different things happened. The brute, like just the sheer brutality of this matchup was just like. And it's funny, we got our good buddy Michael, who, he's just kind of like over here blowing on, like, they've been doing shit like this in CCW for years, but still, to see it like on this level is very, very impressive. Yeah, this was one for the ages for sure. Just the story build up to it, like it's been one of the best stories going. And as advertised, this is supposed to be the end of this rivalry, and Hangman got his win. We talk about this all the time here in PW60. It's what got you into wrestling from the get go. It's just like these insane, like long story arcs that have huge payoffs. And it's interesting to me to see where when you got into this B-roll, like Hangman was your guy, and you remember that story arc he had there, his rise to the top to become the AEW champion. This story for him has been, dare I say, almost more fascinating in a sense of just like his fall back down to the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, in a sense of like there was moments, if you look at this, there's moments at the end of this, like pay close attention when Hangman's on the stage and the facial expressions. Like there's a point where he's thinking about going back to the ring, and then it's almost, he tears up and stops and it's just like, no, I've went too far. Like there's hesitation from him. There's just like this, just the whole thing was so, as the kids say, cinematic. Everything about this matchup was amazing. It was incredible. I loved every bit of it. It was brutal, but we knew that going into it. But and now we have Swerve Strickland, who by the way, he didn't get pinned. He did not submit. He got knocked out, and they stopped this matchup. So looks like Swerve's probably going to be out for a little while. It's going to be very interesting to see where Hangman Page goes from here now. But this was definitely, he needed this win for sure to continue his story on. But nonetheless, this matchup was like everything we thought it could be, and then some. And of course, it's our match of the week here on PW60. I mean, look at that. He's just taking the freaking staple gun to his back, for God's sakes. And we also have to say Hangman Adam Page is our wrestler of the week here on PW60, because now he's playing with a new set of rules, so to speak. So I think that cowboy shit era is long and gone, and this is the crazy psycho killer. I'm going to burn your house down and enjoy it, but or act like I'm enjoying it. But anyways, nonetheless, this matchup was freaking awesome, man. I can't say enough awesome things about this incredible encounter at All Out. What a main event. But it was billed a double main event. And in the other side of that, we had the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, defending his AEW World Championship against the TNT champion, Jack Perry. I gotta say, this match ended up being a lot better than I had originally anticipated. What did you think of this world title encounter? Because, I mean, Jack Perry, man, he was in this for the majority of the matchup. This was a hell of a match.
Yeah, in some ways, I think you would say it was closer than I thought it would be in some ways, especially without like the interference and stuff.
Yeah.
I think I expected more interference, and that kind of didn't come till later. But yeah, this was definitely a solid match. Definitely a good first title defense for the American Dragon. But as good as the match was, that's not what everybody's talking about.
No, we got to talk about the aftermath. Now, first and foremost, we get a little bit of a reunion between Jurassic Express as the former Luchasaurus Killswitch comes out and beats down on Bryan. And of course, then that moment, Christian Cage music hits, and you're like, oh shit, he's going to cash in his contract. This is it. Because remember, kids, when Danielson loses, this is it. Like, he is done. He said he is done. He's retired. And then you have the Blackpool Combat Club come out to save the day. And remember, we've been trying to figure out what's these cryptic promos from Moxley all about? Well, I think we got a hint of what they were about at All Out as they attempted murder to Bryan Danielson, their former stablemate, as they pretty much suffocated him with a plastic bag. I love the call afterwards with JR. It's like, "Oh, he choked him with a goddamn plastic bag." Like that's fucking popped me. But man, this was a surreal moment. You know what got me the most out of this moment? I think you're probably going to agree with me. The true, like the unsung MVP in this whole segment, Wheeler Yuta. Like his reaction, just like weeping and crying, and it's just like, oh my god, he's like he doesn't want him to do this, and then like Moxley and Claudio and Pac, who's now a member of the BCC, and of course Marina Shafir. So saying like this way. Of course I think at the end of the day he did walk out with them, if I remember correctly. Or maybe he didn't. No, I remember he went over to check on Brian.
No, you just stayed. Yeah, no, you just stayed.
You just stayed, didn't he? That's right.
With Brian, yeah.
But I mean, we knew something like this was going to happen, but not to this extent. What did you make of that moment?
Yeah, so it was really neat. I watched it from a different angle earlier today, like someone from like the arena or something, and like I didn't catch this the first time, like on the pay-per-view, but like Moxley kind of like walks forward, they're all even, and he gives Claudio like a nod.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and then Claudio uppercuts him, and like the look on Danielson's face,
yeah,
was like priceless.
Like, what are we doing here? And I gotta say, I loved the BCC before, but this new BCC, holy shit! When you had the intensity of the bastard Pac and Marina Shafir, and like already Claudio and Mox.
I just got one question for you.
Is Wheeler still a part of it?
Well, where the heck does Darby Allin fit into this?
I've heard a lot of different takes on this. I don't know. Like, is they wanting Darby to join the BCC? I can't see it being that. Unless they're wanting to utilize his title shot or something. That's the only thing I can think of. But
it's true.
I don't know, but I gotta say this was an impressive segment, and like what a moment to happen right before that insane main event with Swerve and Hangman too. So, it's going to be, needless to say, just the outcome of those two matches. It is going to be extremely interesting to see what happens this upcoming week on Dynamite. Well, things were heating up at All Out, and I'm excited to say things are about to heat up on this show once again, because I can happily say, returning to the PW60 family, let's go to our good friend Husky with a hot take.
Pro Wrestling 60, what's going on? It's your shaggy-haired brother. And, well, let's talk about All Out for a minute. One part of All Out. Jon Moxley attempting murder on Bryan Danielson last night. I kind of got a bit of a theory about what's going to happen with the Bryan Danielson situation. Go with me on this here. You know how Jon Moxley's been calling out Darby Allin and saying, I just need to talk? Well, I think that he is going to somehow con Darby Allin into giving him his match at Grand Slam against Danielson. And I think that when they go to Washington State for Wrestle Dream, that is where we will get Darby Allin versus Bryan Danielson. And I think there, Darby Allin will become the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, and Bryan Danielson can go home and be a vegan farmer or whatever he wants to do. So, it's good to be back, guys. Be good or be good at it, kids.
Well, there you go, B-roll. The man just answered it. That's a perfect scenario. That makes a lot of sense to me. So, but like I say, nonetheless, it's going to be interesting to see what happens on Dynamite. But we got to talk about this matchup. I love this Chicago street fight between former best friends Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. This match had been hyped up, it had been built up, and this is another one of the matches that lived up to the hype. I know Shadow loved it.
Yeah,
But
Shadow was a big fan of this match.
oh
Big
yeah.
fan.
But the brutality in this one too, man. We saw a lot of crimes committing in this. What about Willow hitting Chris with the freaking light tubes, man? That was crazy.
Yeah.
What'd you make of this street fight?
Because I mean, now remember, kids, like that's not something you normally see in like AEW.
No.
Like, so when the light tubes came out, it was like, oh boy, and like, oh goody at the same time. Like,
And this spot right here with the splits in her, man, it was like, oh my god.
yeah, that had to hurt.
Yeah, but Chris Statlander picking up the win, and a big win for her, a much needed win in this rivalry with Willow Nightingale. And you know, it seems like Saturday Night Fever is like wanting to put this behind her and move on to bigger and better things. Perhaps the AEW Women's Championship, the TBS Championship. Who knows? But nonetheless, this was another classic matchup on this show. This match full of insane grudge matches. And speaking of grudge matches, we got to talk about this opener between MJF and Daniel Garcia. Absolutely love this. What a tremendous opening contest. This is one of the big grudge matches going into it. What do you think of this encounter between MJF and Garcia?
Great opener.
Yes.
And I'm gonna borderline say it, like, star making performance for Garcia.
Yeah, he just keeps getting better and better. Like, I feel like we love him for the dance and stuff, but I think he put that shit on the back burner, man. Like, this was like bad mother trucker Daniel Garcia. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, the dancing and stuff was cool, and he had got himself over. But like, I mean, that was like a mid card wrestler, right? Like one of your mid card favorites. But this Garcia is something to be reckoned with.
Yeah. Yeah, he is something else. But of course MJF picking up the win, but Garcia getting some revenge there at the end with the low blow and that pile driver. And man, oh man, after the the punishment MJF's taken at against Will Ospreay, now Daniel Garcia, makes you wonder like if he's gonna be on the shelf for a little while too.
Well, I know one thing: this rivalry's not over.
No, I don't think
Regardless
so.
of
Yep.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree with that, my friend. And man, oh man, so many great matches on this show. Crazy, we're just getting to this one. Will Ospreay and Pac for the International Championship. I mean, this is another classic, another great Will Ospreay matchup, another great Pac matchup. I know you love both these guys. How you feel about this amazing matchup for that international title?
I mean, any other week we'd probably be talking about this as match of the week.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, they have to go up against a steel cage match. Like, I mean,
One of the
what's
most
gonna
brutal
happen?
ones we've seen in years.
Yeah. But I mean, both guys delivered. You knew this was gonna be a good matchup. Yeah, and definitely it looks like we have Ricochet on the horizon, most likely for
Oh, yeah.
Ospreay. So that's exciting. But who knows
Yeah.
where we'll go from here?
Yeah, but Ospreay retaining that championship, and I know one thing: I would not want to be Dave Meltzer's maid, because if you went through that household with the black light, good luck with that. But nonetheless, this was definitely an all-time classic between Will Ospreay and Pac. This one, not so much. Mercedes Moné retained her TBS championship against Hikaru Shida. We've kind of talked about it a little bit here. I haven't truly expressed I don't think anyways, but I'm to the point now finally. I'm done with Mercedes Moné and AEW. Like, I get it. She's drawing heat. She's doing, I don't care for her to be on my screen. You know what thing I think's really like agitated me about this B-roll? You go all the way back to Owen. Have the placement of the AEW Women's Championship with Mariah May and Toni Storm, and then you had that TBS title so much later on the show. once again, you got the same scenario here. You put Statlander and Willow in the middle of the show, and then you put this towards the end, and I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. Like, I mean, I do in a sense. She's a name and all, but I just and no disrespect to Sheeta. Sheeta was great. I love Sheeta, but like, and I will say this: I think Monet and Sheeta have better chemistry than Monet and Britt had. But I don't understand the fascination with Mercedes Monet. Just don't get it.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that this match was better than I thought it would be. How about that?
I guess, yeah. Yeah, because it wasn't a bad match. It's just like you literally, once again, I guess my biggest gripe is on 2 back-to-back pay-per-views. You had a far superior match, a women's match, go on before a Mercedes Monet match, and it's just like it didn't make sense to me. So I don't know. I will jump off the train as far as like hating on Mercedes Monet, but it's just not for me. It's like people got different different things they're into, different wrestlers, and you're entitled to. It's fine. But like I say, personally for me, I don't know. It's like I'd rather have a vanilla like Starbucks energy drink than a white mocha there. So, but once again, Mercedes Moné does retain that TBS championship. Speaking of champions retaining, Kazuchika Okada would retain his Continental Championship in a fatal 4-way matchup. I thought it was a great match. I love the 4-way. I thought it was solid. It was fun. Yeah, I don't really have anything bad or any, was it as good as some of the other matches? Well, no, but I mean, still, it was a solid matchup on a solid pay-per-view. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say predictable. It was kind of predictable, maybe. But yeah, I mean, just a solid matchup. I think that's the best way you can describe it. And
yeah.
I mean, what we thought would happen happened, and
yeah,
it's probably what should have happened. So
yeah, I agree.
We shall see where Okada goes from here.
Mm-hmm. And I think the same can be said for this matchup. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. The Young Bucks retain against the BCC for the tag titles. Predictable, but I mean, I don't know. It was on a show that was solid already to begin with. Not like I'm going to be going back and watching this matchup, but I mean, it was okay. Crowd was really into it, and that's the most important thing.
It was a good, solid tag match.
Yeah.
Would have made it awkward if Wheeler and Claudia won. Would have been real awkward.
Yeah, especially so. But
they are trios champions, aren't they?
They still are trios champions, so we're gonna have to see what happens there. So. Well, also at All Out, we had CRR, and we got to see teams like the Acclaimed and the Bang Bang Gang pick up wins, as well as we got to see this new trios tandem of Sammy Guevara, Dustin Rhodes, and Hologram also pick up a win as well. And the celebration for Mariah May, or not really a celebration, as she said, the crowd, Chicago didn't deserve it. So we got to see Sky Blue make an appearance as well. So, but seriously, All Out, it has a lineage of phenomenal shows to live up to, and I think it lived up to the hype and then some. So, although we didn't get to go to this All Out this year, thankfully, one of our family members did get to go to All Out. Our good buddy Spicy Guac was there live and in person for all the action. He was so kind to send us some footage from All Out, so check this out.
It's the final countdown! What is going on? What is happening? What's going on?
Listen, buddy, when I say shit was wild, I mean shit was wild. And fuck.
That's the best way to put it to sum up. Oh, we love you, Spicy, so much, man. Thank you so much for sending us that footage. It looked like you had an amazing time, brother. So glad you got to go, dude. But All Out was seriously an amazing show. It always is. But let's move on here on PW16. We're going to talk about what happened this week in the WWE. Of course, coming off of Bash in Berlin. Let's talk about Raw from this past week. First off, we got to see the rest of the Intercontinental Championship qualifiers for the four-way matchup get qualified, as we have Ilya Dragunov and Braun Strowman. Yay.
Hooray.
But also we got to see the continuation, apparently, of just when we thought we were done there for a minute, of Drew McIntyre and CM Punk's rivalry. The bracelet's finally gone. Woohoo! That I don't know. Like I'm enjoying that feud. I do think it was starting to get a little too much with the bracelet thing, in all honesty. So I'm kind of glad to see that aspect of it gone. Of course, we got to see the Unholy Union become number one contenders for their former World Tag Team Championship as they defeated Damage Control. And I think the big one coming out of this is Love in the Air, Mr. B-Roll. A little yeeting maybe going on for one Rhea Ripley and main event Jey Uso. So I don't know, dude. I'm here for it though. So but nonetheless, Raw was an exciting show. But let's talk about Friday Night SmackDown, which kicked off with a tremendous matchup with Bayley and Tiffany Stratton going at it. We also got to see, of course, that Cody promo, and we now find out that Cody will face Solo Sikoa this week in a steel cage. I got to see Chelsea Green was in action. Of course, in the main event, you got to see the Bloodline in action against the Street Profits and DIY. Man, and then what did you think of the Giovanni Finci shit? That was a little kind of like, really? We're doing that? You wasted my time for that? Kind of dumb.
I don't know.
Yeah. You're like, I've already forgot about it. It's
like,
fine.
Were they trying to break a record of like quickest? I don't know.
I don't know. Kind of dumb, but hey, it is what it is. And of course, we had a triple threat matchup with Kevin Owens going against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. KO picking up the win, but what are we doing here, B-Roll? I mean, the whole A-Town Down Under, this drama kind of continues. And of course, we mentioned A-Town Down Under. We have to go to our
in that field.
We have an expert in that field. We got to go to our Tribal Queen Bree. So let's go to Bree with the Tribal Queen tidbit of the week.
Well, hey, hi, hello, everybody. It is your Tribal Queen Bree with the Tribal Queen tidbit of the week. And how about that SmackDown, where you thought we were finally gonna get the face turn of Austin Theory? Kevin Owens planted the seed between the two of them, with him and Grayson Waller, and especially in that triple threat match. You would think that little confrontation in the ring with Theory and Grayson, that it would have finally happened. Did it? No. I don't know who was in charge of that match, producing the match, who's in charge of that storyline, but it's starting to get old. It's a little bit bullshit. I'm getting a little bit tired of seeing them kind of bicker, then get back together. No, pull the plug. We're ready. We are ready for the face, Austin Theory. That's all I got today. That was your Trap Queen Tidbit of the Week.
Yeah, I agree. They totally need to pull the plug on this because the shit's getting old. So, well, let's talk about NXT from this past Tuesday night. And once again, they delivered another phenomenal show. Man, how about Zachary Wentz continuing that momentum as the Rascals picking up the win and are the number one contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championship, man. I know you love you some Rascals.
Them rascals are gonna rascal. I mean,
And then how about the chaos with Trick Williams and Pete Dunne going back and forth? And, of course, that match getting thrown out. And now we do know they will be meeting in a last man standing matchup. Obi Femi continuing his dominance as he just destroyed Stacks.
no, who is going to stop him?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think anybody in NXT. I don't even know if anybody. I'm like, maybe. God, I don't know. I have no
I think
idea.
there's like scientists in a lab like trying to create somebody that can like stop him.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. And then, of course, we got to see Roxanne come out. And, of course, who else did we see? Julia coming out and pretty much laying it on the line that they will meet for that women's championship at NXT's debut on the CW here in a couple weeks. So it's exciting times in the world of NXT, my friend.
All I gotta say is sometimes, like the fewer words, the better. Me, you, CW.
There you go, buddy. Well, and there's also sometimes, too, where you and I and all of us could use some advice.
Yeah.
And there's no better person to turn to on this show than Dad Hat with Dad Hat's tip of the week. So let's go to Dad Hat.
It's that time of the week again. Dad Hat's Life Lessons of the Week. Brought to you by World Championship Wreckage. Find them on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. And also by the Wrestle Talk Wolfpack. 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. every Wednesday, twitch.tv/Wrestle Talk Wolfpack. And now, here's Dad Hat.
Kids, always remember, life lesson. You learned it when you were younger, and it still applies today. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Oh my God. Unbelievable. Oh my God.
Well, he wasn't wrong. Hey, perfect segue. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite this past week, which was the go-home show for All Out. And it was a solid show, too, man. I mean, you had that awesome matchup with Okada and Kyle Fletcher to kick it off. Incredible segments there with, like, Daniel Garcia and MJF and their rivalry. We got to see Mariah May successfully defend her championship against former champion Nyla Rose. An incredible 8-man tag. But I think the moment of the week, the clip of the week, the image of the week in the world of wrestling is this right here. Yeah. I mean, that is what got us so like insanely hyped for that steel cage match. I mean, the way that show closed, a lot of people saying it's one of the best Dynamite closes they've seen in a long time, man. What'd you make of that segment when it happened on Dynamite? Because I mean, we're still talking about it to this day.
Would it be cliche and corny to say that it was fire?
All right, tell your dad jokes.
Hey, we go from Dad Hat tip of the week to dad joke. I mean,
there you go.
Know, it's all the same. Us dads out here. But yeah, I mean, Dynamite was a solid show, but yeah, I mean the closing was nuts.
Yeah, the closing was insane. It was, dare I say, that show was on fire.
You're a dog dad. It counts.
That's true.
But I'll just say this too. Kyle Fletcher.
He's getting so much better. It's crazy, isn't it?
That kid's going places.
No kidding, right? So, But let's talk about AEW the rest of this week. And of course, Friday night, we got a double dose of AEW television as we got Collision and Rampage right before, of course, All Out. And, Collision was a good show, man. Of course, we saw some qualifiers for the Continental Classic. And as we know, Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, and Takeshita would all qualify for that Continental Classic Championship matchup. Got to see the grizzled young. Yeah, we did. We literally predicted that on our prediction show. All of us. The grizzled young veterans going up against the Iron Savages. How about this? The Outrunners going up against one of our favorite tag teams who we see quite frequently in GCW and others. Bang and Matthews, I believe, making their Collision debut. I thought that was awesome. Unfortunately, they didn't pick up the win. But hey, kudos to the Outrunners for getting their first win. So that was a pretty cool moment. And I think it's interesting with the Outrunners too. I don't know if you saw this statistic or not, but they've had the highest grossing merchandise sales, I think, in the past couple weeks or something like that. I mean, I think we're onto something here. So, but Collision was an awesome show. We got that all-star 8-man tag team matchup going into Rampage, which then go on over to Rampage. Rampage itself was a pretty decent show as well. Of course, you had Queen Aminata was in action. You got the ROH Tag Champions teaming up with Hologram to go up against the Dark Order. And, of course, in the main event, you got MXM going up against House of Black, which was an interesting one to say the least. So, but like I say, Rampage was a solid show. AEW, once again, you knocked it out of the park. And we were talking about this, too. We've been talking about AEW here for a minute, how it's felt like we were in a holding pattern or this and that because WWE's on fire right now. But for the first time in a long time, I feel happy with where AEW is at. I think they're delivering. I think it's solid. What are you chuckling about over there?
I guess you could say they finally caught fire.
Oh, here this guy goes again. Well, it's that time of the show. Well, let's go to our good friend Sienna with some advice for us pro wrestling fans.
When it comes to having the greatest rivalry of all time in pro wrestling, the whole storytelling is going to get really good, especially if it's a long-term storytelling aspect, especially when it comes to a different style of the matches. For instance, you have this whole situation with Cody and Roman leading up to what happened at WrestleMania from last year and also to this year. And of course, Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland, their rivalry that's been going on for a whole year, leading up to last night's AEW All Out, and of course the whole Judgment Day implosion, especially with some of the individuals coming in and out. Everything for a perfect example of having this good matches that can be more innovative and especially more creative to get the fans itself to drawn together. And it's nothing wrong with that too, because it's actually giving more discussion and more something to look forward to within the wrestling fandom. And despite the fact that this is how it is now within the community, it's such a beautiful thing about it too, though. So when it comes to rivalries and feuds with the individual or within the group, though, that we're going to get a good match that's going to be starting up slowly but surely all the way into a complete WTF moment.
As the kids say, it's cinema. Thank you so much, Sienna. We appreciate the tidbit there, my friend. Well, also this week, we got to see what happened in the world of TNA Wrestling and Impact. And hey, this one's kind of near and dear to me, B-Roll, because I was at this show. So I was at those tapings, and this was a solid show from being there in person. It was awesome from top to bottom. Of course, Josh Alexander coming out and being a dick, more or less, or the walking weenie, as we all called him, kind of stopping that matchup with Kushida, and of course Kushida going on to challenge him and having a fun matchup. But speaking of dicks, Matt Cardona, come on, dude, let it go, buddy. How dare you make our queen Steph DeLander sad here? Just you need to let it go, bro. She's not your property. And kudos to Steph with the Beetlejuice homage, which just came out. So that was pretty awesome. Of course. Yeah, it's out, brother. It came out this past weekend. Yeah. Beetlejuice now in theaters, and we're not sponsored.
Why haven't you taken me to see it yet?
You had plans. I had plans. We're both busy people, so we'll get to it at some point.
It's a topic for another day and a different show.
Yes, but the system continuing their reign of terror as well, and you got to give kudos to Alicia Edwards coming out with her little brace after suffering that concussion at emergence, and of course now it looks like the we've got. I'm sorry, I always forget who. Like I always know him as Johnny Curtis or Fandango. The former Fandango, now a part of the system officially. But let's talk about that open challenge from Jordan Grace, as she got to see her go up against one of the top prospects in all of NXT. I know she's one of your favorites, Carmen Petrovic. And that was a solid ass match too. It was awesome. And then the end with the chaos with Wendy Chu, it looks like may be in the sights for the Knockouts champion, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. But once again, if you're not watching TNA wrestling on Thursday nights, you definitely need to check them out any way you possibly can. And speaking of TNA, this was some really big news that came out this past week. It looks like Giselle Shaw has been officially granted her release from TNA Wrestling, which little inside info here, B-Roll, I find shocking because, like, I don't know if it's going to appear on next week's Impact, but she was in a match and was part of, like, an angle that they were doing. So I was really surprised with this one due to that. But in hindsight, though, kind of makes sense, I feel like, because it's just like, I feel like she has been so underutilized there. Which is crazy to say with TNA because they do such a good job with their bookings. But, I mean, there's no reason, in my opinion, that Giselle Shaw shouldn't have won a championship at this point. Don't you think?
I mean, I definitely agree. I think a lot of it does have to deal with Scott D'Amore being gone. That definitely is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Which I'm not. I mean, because TNA's been on fire. I mean, this is just one stone left unturned or something like that. But
I agree.
She'll bounce back. I don't know what she'll do from here, but she'll bounce back.
Yeah, I'm excited to actually see what she'll do going forward because I think it will. Whatever she does, she's a super talented wrestler, so she will thrive wherever she goes from next, from here. So, well, B-roll. I know we already saw the man once, but it's time once again. We need to spice things up a bit. So let's go to our good friend Spicy Guac with a spicy take.
Spicy Guac letting you know that if any man is supposed to return, and by God, if they do return from WCW, like classic, like Nitro era, it needs to be Alex Wright. Like, why hasn't he came back? We've had Glacier come back. Like, just...
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I believe, if people believe in Joe Hendry, and I believe in Joe Hendry, don't get me wrong, but I believe in Das Wonder Kid, and he needs to come back. Damn it, I need me an Alex Wright return, in the worst way. Well, hey, in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling, they had an interesting weekend as New Japan celebrated the 20th anniversary of Shingo Takagi. How crazy is that Shingo has been wrestling for 20 years? So they had a phenomenal card this past weekend in tribute to him. And in the main event, Shingo picking up the win against some of his Los Ingobernables stablemates. And we did find out that Naito has accepted the challenge from Shingo Takagi, and they will meet for that IWGP Championship somewhere down the road. So that is going to be interesting, to say the least. I cannot wait to see that. And also in New Japan this past weekend as well, they had their Road to Destruction show, which in the main event, pretty much Jeff Cobb did retain his TV title against Yodosuchi in a fun matchup. But speaking of Japan, we're not done with tournaments yet, folks. Oh, no. As Marigold's Dream Star Grand Prix has officially gotten underway. It's just now starting though, so not really like any in-depth like details as far as in standings and results and whatnots because it literally just kicked off. But the tournament is underway nonetheless, and of course, you can stay tuned these following upcoming weeks here on PW60 as our good friend, the Light Skin Gaijin, will have a report on the standings and what's going on in the world of Marigold and the Dreamstar Grand Prix. Well, it's that time in the show. Speaking of so many great companies out there, it's time to talk a little bit of GCW, some game changer wrestling. So let's go to the very beautiful and talented Carly with our GCW report.
What's going on, PW60 fam? I'm Cakeface Carly, and you know why I'm here. I'm your GCW bestie, and I'm here to talk about everything that went down this past week on Game Changer Wrestling and what's coming up next. Now, unfortunately, this past week, there weren't any GCW shows. I know. I'm just as upset as you were, but this week we have 2 events going on this Saturday and Sunday, September 14th and 15th, and I have at least the most up-to-date card, hopefully. And of course, always remember that the lineup is always subject to change. Starting off this Saturday, September 14th, they are back in Detroit at the Harpo's Theater, and y'all, just from what's up here, the matches are going to be pretty awesome. We're going to see Brandon Kirk face the Crazy Kid, and if my assumption's correct, I think this match is going to get nuts. Next, she is the cutest in the fucking world, and she is happy to be here. We're going to see Maki Ito go against Kylie Ray. We're going to be seeing a 6-man tag match between Madman Pondo, Too Tough Tony, and Brayer Wellington going against Thrunt, which is the team of Effie, Dark Sheik, and Sawyer Rex. I don't know about y'all, but I'm expecting it to be a pretty hardcore match between these 6. Last but not least, we have our GCW World Champion, Old Manzer, Mance Warner, putting his title on the line against very nice, very evil Danhausen. Will Danhausen be able to curse his way into a victory, or is the Manser era just too damn strong? We're also going to be hearing from Miedo Extremo. He's going to tell us exactly why he did what he did homecoming weekend, and of course, if you didn't watch, what happened was Miedo Extremo really fucked up Ciclope, and Los Macizos is no more. And of course, we can't forget Violent J. It's Detroit. You're going to have to see Violent J at a GCW show. And of course, if you know me, I'm super hyped to see this. And I wonder if he's going to be on commentary again like he was for the Backyard Wrestling show. Or maybe he'll get in on the action. So then on Sunday, September 15th, we have a show in Rochester. And it is called The G Code. First match we have is Madman Pondo and Too Tough Tony taking on High Seas. We're also going to see Masha Slamovich put her JCW World Championship on the line against Man Like Darice. And honestly, I'm really looking forward to seeing that match. We're going to see the main one, Zilla Fatu, take on the base god Gringo Loco, as well as Danhausen will be having his second match of the weekend, but this time it'll be against the bad boy Joey Janela. We're also expected to see an appearance from the GCW World Champion Mance Warner, as well as the Megasis Megan Bain, the cutest in the fucking world Maki Ito, and of course our GCW Deathmatch General Manager Matt Cardona. So that's all I have right now for the match card for both evenings, but if there is any other updates, I will make sure to inform you, of course, on my TikTok. But shit, I'm not done yet. We gotta talk about what's coming up the next week, because there's some amazing matches that you need to know about. Next Friday and Saturday, September 20th and 21st, we have shows for GCW. One is called Aura in Philadelphia, and the other one is called Back to Back in Hartford, Connecticut. We got some pretty amazing matches already so far for both shows. I mean, as you can see, Mance Warner is going to be taking on Tony Deppen, putting his GCW World Championship on the line. And we're going to see the main one, Zilla Fatu, take on the Bulldozer Matt Tremont. And speaking of Matt Tremont, he also has a match on Saturday the 21st, but this one's going to be against Brandon Kirk, and I can almost guarantee there's going to be some blood in that match. And then we're going to see Matt Cardona the first time after his loss at GCW Homecoming, but this time it's going to be a singles match against none other than the Megasis, Megan Bain. Well, that concludes all I have for you guys this week for GCW. And as always, I hope if you haven't already, after watching this, you give GCW a chance because they're awesome. Okay, thanks. Bye. Back to you guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Carly. And cannot wait to see what happens next in the world of Game Changer Wrestling. And hey, speaking of GCW and other independent wrestling shows, had a couple big ones this past weekend. We got to talk about Black Label Pros Crowning Glory. This was a loaded show. This was a unique show too, as well as it was also like a combine for wrestlers. You get to see like Jordan Grace go the ropes and like beat the crap out of Mandy Rose in like an arm wrestling match. We got to see Riddick Moss like hit the ropes ridiculously. And you had some amazing matches on this show too. I personally loved the Jordan Grace Rachel Armstrong matchup. I thought was awesome. But this was a unique event, and I would highly recommend you go check it out. I believe you can catch replays of it still on YouTube. I think on Chris Van Fleet's channel, believe it or not. But also, we got to mention this too. House of Glory held a show this past week in Chicago, and this double main event was fucking bonkers. Silla Fatu going up against Mustafa Ali for that Crown Jewel Championship. Holy crap. And then the world title matchup between Mike Santana defending against Dijak. Like, these two matches alone are worth watching the show, which you can catch a replay of that here or over on Triller TV. But these matches were amazing, to say the least. And we got to talk about this B-roll. This week, it is officially WWE Week here on the USA Network as the season premiere of both Raw and the season premiere of SmackDown, which returns back to the USA Network, will be taking place this week, as well as a brand new episode of NXT. We do know on Monday Night Raw tonight, you are going to get that a big street fight between American Made and the Wyatt Six, which is going to be awesome. And of course, on SmackDown, we know we're getting that cage match with Cody and Solo as well. But it's going to be exciting to see what happens. It goes down all this week on the USA Network.
Is that what you really want to talk about,
WWE
though?
Week. What do I really want to talk about?
Anything else happening on Raw?
What am I forgetting? There's the Intercontinental Championship match.
Oh, don't worry. We'll get there. This is what you call a tease, folks.
Okay. Fair enough. I must be forgetting something, so. Oh,
yeah, you are.
Yes. How could I forget? Oh, yes. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be is going to be on Monday Night Raw. Bret the Hitman Hart. I got to be honest, Kayfabe brother, I forgot. Yeah, he is going to be on Raw, man. And I'm so excited. Can you tell how excited I am to see Bret Hart on Monday Night Raw? Oh, it's going to be great. And it's in Calgary, too. So, it's going to be so great to see Bret Hart, man. I hope they kick off the show with him, that his music hits, and he just gets a thunderous ovation as the Hitman should. So, yeah, that's going to be exciting to see on Monday Night Raw tonight on the USA Network as WWE Week officially kicks off. So, this is exciting news. It looks like Asuka has officially re-signed a new deal with the WWE. So looks like she's probably going to be finishing her career out in the WWE. So once she gets healed up from injury, it'll be great to see her back in a WWE ring. But that being said, segue into this. You're not going to be seeing this guy in a WWE ring anytime soon, as Odyssey Jones, as he was just brought up into the main roster. A big controversial story coming out this week. He is officially gone from the WWE due to some serious offenses, which I believe were in the past, but still, like domestic violence, past, present, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's a no-go in my opinion. So I'm sorry. See you later, Odyssey Jones. Thanks for coming. Not really though. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that subject matter. But Odyssey Jones out of the WWE. Now, this is an interesting and fascinating story to me. Wesley, I believe his name is I don't really know the band. I didn't even know this was a band, but there's a band called American Nightmare. But the lead singer here is actually suing WWE and Cody Rhodes for trademark infringement on the name, which I find fascinating because Cody's been using the American Nightmare moniker for years now.
Years.
But all of a sudden now it's an issue, supposedly violating something in an agreement they had or something. I don't know. It doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me. But the thing of it is, B-roll, this has been going on for a long time in the world of pro wrestling with, artists is upset with different wrestlers on using different things and vice versa. And it just so happens to be our good close friend, the Best Scout Machine, did a deep dive on this. So let's go to the Best Scout Machine with this report.
This week it was announced that Cody Rhodes is getting sued by American punk band American Nightmare. Gee, why? Maybe because they've been called American Nightmare since 1998, and shamefully Cody Rhodes has been just bleeding that name dry. For the love of God, man, Google search that shit. I have no respect for you, Blondie. But you know what? This isn't the only time wrestlers has infringed in the music world. I'm going to throw out some examples. Back in the day, Raven screwed over Pearl Jam by calling his DDT the Even Flow DDT. Well, Even Flow. Then there's a case where Samoa Joe was getting harassed by the band Ugly Kid Joe for infringement, which is ridiculous because Samoa Joe is not ugly. Look at him. Shania Twain realized that Jeff Jarrett was completely infringing on her gimmick. Shame on you, Jeff Jarrett. Shame on you. You're evil and you're ugly. Howdy. I'm a gouch. There's lots of us out there. We're all in danger. There's only one gout that can save us. Can you, Gouty boy, save Texas gout? Can you hear me? Save me. There's one of us who's gone crazy and he's after all of us. What the fuck was that?
What the fuck was that?
Oh.
Like, there's multiple gouts? Like a multiverse of gouts? Like, anyways, thank you, Best Gout, for that report. And I don't know, stay tuned to see what in the world's going on with this multiverse of gouts. But speaking of lawsuits, we got to talk about this one. It looks like the Brent and Brandon Tate, or the former boys, as well as Kevin Kelly, have brought on a lawsuit against AEW. I'm not shocked to see this. It's kind of like we've heard the Kevin Kelly story. We're kind of familiar with that. And kind of hearing now a little bit about the Tate brothers, which is kind of a little, I don't know. It's kind of depends on how you look at it type of deal. But I'm sure they're probably going to settle this out of court or something for an undisclosed amount of money and move on to other things. So I would love to see Kevin Kelly back like in New Japan or something, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So, well, thankfully, B-Roll, the network has allowed us some extra time here tonight on PW60, so we're going into overtime, baby, but we got plenty more stories to talk about. Oh, God damn it.
Oh.
What more? Okay, okay, I'm going to say this once and, like, kind of be done. I feel like a sense of, just I feel valid knowing because I've hated Terry Bollea for years and knowing he's a fucking piece of shit and like it just like he keeps burying himself. But I'm also sad in a way how like there still are a ton of people who love this man. I cannot even fathom to understand why. I mean, just the stuff that comes out of this man is complete utter bullshit. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's a special place in hell for people like Terry Bollea. You can go fuck yourself. And I want to officially say this. I truly believe like we need to be done ever mentioning that fucking waste of space and garbage on this show. God, man, I'm tired of talking about assholes like him. Oh, fuck.
Oh,
God damn it.
It can't get worse. Yeah, it can.
Yes, the Vince McMahon documentary officially dropped this past week, and the IWC is one step closer to losing their shit.
Well, the trailer dropped, not the series.
Yeah, the trailer. As I said, the trailer dropped, not the series. Yeah.
Yes.
That will be coming soon. But I'm intrigued to see this, but I'm also kind of frightened at the same time. But it's I do like how it's like going to be. It sounds like it's a burial of Vince McMahon, and that's how it should be because he's another waste of breath in this world. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. But seriously,
no matter how you slice it, it's gonna be interesting.
yeah. But I'll tell you this. Okay, you got this show coming to Netflix. Everybody's going to be talking about, but I think everybody needs to be talking about this one. The Queen of Villains is set to premiere on September the 19th on Netflix. It's a new series. Now, this series is based on the incredible true story of Japanese women's wrestling legend Dump Masuta, which her story is incredible. Like, you go back and watch Japanese women's wrestling from the 80s and it is so far ahead of its time. It's insane. So I'm excited to see this series. I think it's going to be really cool to shed a lot of light on that world of Japanese women's wrestling from the 80s. Well, Mr. B-Roll, it's that time of the show. Let's go to our good friend Brian for Brian's random moment of the week here on PW60.
All right, yeah. Harry is in the same spot, hanging out as always. That's right, Brian here, Brian's House of Random and the Brian's House of Random moment of the week. And what did everybody think of AEW All Out on Saturday? Great card, of course, and all that good stuff. So now, for my random moment, I want to go into the history of wrestling just a little bit. I want to go into 1991, and we're talking about what ifs as far as wrestlers leaving companies or if they joined or whatever, that kind of thing. So I want to look at the Nature Boy Ric Flair in 1991. We know, of course, he had the issues with Jim Herd, wanted him to cut his hair and become Spartacus. Stupid idea for sure. It's like, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Jim Herd thought, let's fix it. That was stupid. So thankfully, Ric Flair was smart and said, thanks, but no thanks. So, of course, he went to the WWF and became WWF champion, and we know about the history there for the about close to, year and a half, 2 years that he was in the WWF. So it did add to his legacy that he won the WWF title as far as the major championships he won. But here's the what if. What if Ric Flair did not leave in 1991? Now, I'm not saying him go with the idea of becoming Spartacus and changing the gimmick, but staying as himself, Four Horsemen and all, but just never went to the WWF at that time. Let's say he could have went later or after, in 2001 after the closure of WCW, you can do that option as well. But comment below, what do you think would have happened if Ric Flair would not have left WCW in 1991? How would the rest of his career went in WCW during that time? Singles, as a faction with the Horsemen, babyface turn, what do you think? So comment below and have yourself a wonderful rest of the week.
Oh, Brian always bringing the heat with his questions. Love you, Brian. We appreciate you. And you know who else we love around here, B-Roll? We love our wrestling content creators. And this week, our Ruby Ringside Wrestling Content Creator of the Week is none other than Wrestle Rant 001. I got to tell you, this guy's hilarious. I've interacted with him a couple times on TikTok, and like the stuff he's putting out is freaking funny as hell. And original, and you need to go give him a follow if you're not doing so already. I mean, he just put out that one about, so we were talking about crimes at the All Out. He put out a hilarious video on that. But seriously, do yourself a favor, do us a favor, and go check out Wrestle Rant 001, as they are our Ruby Ringside Wrestling Content Creator of the Week this week here on PW60. And some exciting news here between Tenille Dashwood and Riddick Moss, as they announced that they're going to have their first baby. So congratulations to them. And it's always exciting to see. We got another wrestling baby coming in the world here of pro wrestling. You love to see it, but seriously, congratulations to both of them. And our last story this week on PW60 is Saturday night's main event is coming back. That's right. So it will be a special coming to the NBC network. Great to see Saturday night's main event returning to its home on the NBC network. So be on the lookout for this in the very near future. I used to love watching Saturday night's main event back in the day, man. I was a big SNL fan back in the day, but I was hyped when Saturday night's main event would come on to replace it. So it's going to be exciting to see. It's been like, I think because they brought it back in the mid 2000s. So it's probably been about 15 years or so since we've seen one on NBC. So it's exciting news coming out from the WWE. So like we say, be on the lookout for that. Well, we've done it again. We've somehow talked about everything that's happened this past week in the world of pro wrestling. But as you and I both know, and everybody else knows, it's a never revolving door that of events and storylines and everything that happens in the world of pro wrestling. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this upcoming week, especially on WWE Week on the USA Network. So, well, that's going to do it for this episode of Pro Wrestling 60. As always, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And we'll see you next week on another episode of PW60. Everybody have a great week. Bye.